Hey, 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 everybody. We're back. I'm Dave Schmitto hanging out with the one and only Meghan Wells. That's right. She is the only Meghan Wells on planet Earth, and I get to hang out with her. Well, I'm with the amazing Meghan Wells. She just got done hosting, facilitating, moderating hashtag Teach Better, the Teach Better chat. She did an outstanding job. So if you're just joining us and checking in, feel free to join us in the comments. Let us know who you are, where you're from, and in 52 seconds after our amazing promo music, we'll be back. All right, as though the Teach Better chat didn't get us fired up enough, we have that amazing music to get us going. And do you see the comments already? People are jumping in to compliment what an amazing job you did. We got Kim Toasty, aka Danielle, saying, "Way to go, Meghan." And when they spell your name right, you know they're real fans of you.
I know, right? They know,
That's
they've
awesome.
at least met me. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. We got Alex here jumping in, quoting me, reminding you that it was so good. So good. I agree. Liv Chan joining us, reminding us all that it was a great chat, joining us all the way from Canada. You are an international sensation right now, Meghan.
Sure.
It was that good. It was that good. No, Meghan, it was phenomenal. And we were joking a little bit beforehand that you had no idea what it was going to be like. And whoo, it was a wake-up call, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I've participated I've participated for a few years now. And so, I mean, it was just like, okay, I'll host. And it was, from coming up with the questions to getting everything scheduled to kind of the nerves before. I mean, I don't know why I was nervous, but I was kind of nervous about it. So it was kind of crazy.
You did an amazing job. Nobody would have seen you, or nobody would have thought you were nervous. And I think you kind of did this the right way, right? I think you only had like 2 weeks, 3 weeks maybe to jump in and say, "I'm in, let's go." So you didn't have...
I had a week and a half.
A week and a half. Okay.
Yeah. I think it was Wednesday of last week. Yeah. Not even a week and a half, like a week. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like that. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I'll tell you what, before we get too carried away in the conversation in the chat and really getting into the weeds of the conversation, do me a favor, if you don't mind. Remind people who you are, where you are, what you do, all things Meghan Wells. Fill them in real quick.
Well, my name is Meghan Wells. I am a high school teacher in North Texas. I teach English language arts. Right now I have 10th and 12th graders. I've had everything from 7th to 12th grade as far as English goes. This will be my 15th year teaching. I've taught at a couple districts in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I'm Schmegini on Twitter. I'm teacher Meg Wells on Instagram. I have Facebook, but Facebook is more, Teach Better, I'm on there, but it's more of my family and stuff like that. So if you want to follow what I'm doing teaching wise, Twitter, Instagram are probably the two things that you want to follow.
Awesome. And Meghan, you gave your handle there, but for me, just so you know, I affectionately refer to you as the Queen of Green Hearts. And that was kind of the theme of tonight, too, the Queen of Green Hearts, and where the green heart phenomenon came from and what it's done for you and what it symbolizes. So walk us through this whole green hearts phenomenon.
Well,
what happened?
Like I said, I've participated in the Teach Better chat for a little while. I think it was actually something I was in grad school from 2018 to I finished in 2020. So I was going to say right before lockdown, I got my diploma. So, but I had participated, it's always kind of an assignment to go in and follow different education things. And I think it was Ray. I had heard about Ray through something, and I was like, I was following Teach Better. Honestly, at that time, I was Team Ray. So I was going to say, I didn't know.
We all are. It's okay. It's okay to admit it. We're all Team Ray.
I didn't know you, Dave. So I was going to say, so I had followed it for a while, and I'd gotten kind of involved, but I hadn't gone all in, And so I think I watched the 12-hour live that was in like June of 2020. Yeah. And I had kind of done a few things here and there. And it's always one of those, like, on the back channel, like, oh, they saw me. Hi, like just like the students that we have in the class. So, so I got up early. I wasn't really feeling it at 7:00 in the morning in December, but I was up and I was like, okay, well, I'll get on this 12-hour live thing and see what it's about. And Ray and Jeff are kind of getting into it. And I was like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if every time you guys said something, we did something? And so, through the chat and through the live, Jeff and I kind of got into this conversation. I don't think Ray was on board at all for many months. She was kind of angry about it for a little while. But it was like, honestly, it kept me engaged because I was kind of into it, but I was like, I'll pop in and pop out. But after I suggested that we do green hearts for everything, I felt obligated for the rest of the 12-hour live to get on and, listen for better and put green hearts in. And I did it kind of like as a Pee-wee's Playhouse back in the day.
Yeah.
If you're old like me, you remember Pee-wee's Playhouse. But every time they had a secret word and every time somebody said the secret word, they got all excited and screamed and everything like that. And then I said something to my mom, and my mom's like, basically, you suggested a drinking game. And
no, what I just heard was you just said Jeff Gargis is basically like Pee Wee Herman. That's what I heard.
All these things were not things on my mind. The drinking game, I was like, no. I was thinking of, being a kid and like I said, trying to stay engaged. And so when I thought of hosting this, I was like, well, that's why people know me is the Green Hearts. So I was like, I should kind of, play on that. See, you guys have a 12-hour live coming up. So I was like, maybe we'll find, a suggestion for that one or something like that. So that's kind of where I went with that. So
that's awesome. Yeah. The
Green Hearts, know if that answered your question.
No, you did. Yeah. The Green Hearts, they're a symbolism. It's symbolism for getting better. Anytime somebody suggests a way to get better or actually uses the word better, we throw some green hearts out there, some love, some affirmation to remind people that we can all get better. And yeah, I remember that first time Alex went in and counted them all up. And this time though, in the Teach Better chat today, you took that and you built upon it. It was more than just explaining the history of the green hearts. You went on and you were talking about symbolism behind schools and districts and how districts can symbolize hope and love and all those things. Minnie commented on that a few minutes ago and said that she loved that question. Talk to people about that question. I think it was question 3 maybe in the chat where you asked people about the symbols that they use.
Well, I've been thinking about it a lot because I've been thinking about the intention, being intentional. And one of the things that I teach at a high school, it's an older high school, like it's been around for a while. It's basically got over 100 years of tradition. And so their mascot is the symbol on everything. And for a long time in the city, they were the only high school. So their mascot's on all kinds of stuff. They're like a breakfast restaurant where the mascot is on, breakfast restaurant and stuff like that, because it's just been around for a long time. And so, and also thinking about how, like I said, when I did the green hearts, I wasn't really totally feeling it, but I was engaged. I was automatically like, hey, I'm going to be on this chat. I'm going to be putting in these silly green hearts, as silly as the suggestion was, because I'm going to be involved. So it's kind of that combination of that tradition mixed with also that engagement, that I'm bringing you into, my world, and my world has this symbol, and so being intentional with my classroom and having specific colors, that I use the school colors in my classroom. I make sure that the kids know the alma mater, which I think is, it kind of seems like a silly thing, but when you go to graduation and they can't sing the alma mater, it's a big deal. So, just, what kind of symbols do you use? And, there are some districts, there's a district that, I can honestly see the high school out this window, and the whole district uses because it's a one high school, one elementary school kind of thing, they all use the bulldogs. And every elementary school uses the same colors and everything else. So it would stand to reason that when they post something in social media, or when they, have something in their classroom, it's going to be a bulldog, because that's their symbol. And so I just really, using that to also symbolize that, you are a part of us, you are a part of our family, you are a part of our, our group, you belong here. And so that's kind of where I was going with it, I guess.
I love that, because the green hearts, it's really evolved. It's not just a Meghan Wells thing now. It's a Teach Better thing that everybody is kind of using. And it's almost the Teach Better brand identity. It's the tattoo for the Teach Better team. As a guy who has his fair share of tattoos, I know that tattoos have to mean something to you. You don't just get ink on your arm or your leg or your neck or your face, whatever, unless it's going to be something to identify who you are. And I love that, because in schools everywhere, we have those mascots. And I remember I was a part of school once where we were looking at changing the mascot. And it was probably the most visceral conversation and debate we had, was trying to decide, who are we going to identify with? So going through that reflective activity and saying, who are we? What is our symbolism? What do we want to be able to tell our kids? Like Alex is from Freeport, where they are the pretzels. And I can imagine the conversations that happen amongst the pretzels as they wrestle with their identity and what that means to them, and interconnectedness.
I'm finding a costume.
Right. Just how yummy and delicious that is. You're right. But it was a great question tonight. As you were going through the chat and flying through, I'm sure your thumbs were kind of bleeding just from trying to keep up with everything. This is going to be a hard question to answer, but I'm wondering if you can. Were there any answers that surprised you? Were there things that people said to any of your questions where you're like, ooh, I didn't necessarily know it was going to go that direction, or that's just insightful, or I love that comment? Anything that really resonates?
The simple question, some people put more of like what they think learning looks like and things like that. So that was a little surprising. I'm blanking on the name. So somebody put on the childhood memories about something that you could incorporate.
Yeah.
They put, oh gosh, you're going to kill me because I can't. I'm just blanking.
That's right.
Anyway,
we'll find it. We'll find it.
Time of day. The name will come back to me, and it's somebody that so it's somebody that. But they put an ice cream truck as the childhood memory. Yeah,
I'm going to find it, because I remember that one. Keep going, though.
Yeah.
So elaborate on that question.
It was somebody pretty important too. I can't believe I have the face in my head. But
you're okay. You're okay.
But that one was like, oh, that's there's all kinds of fun things you can do with an ice cream truck. So those are the kind of things that I was really attaching to, is like, the way the interpretation where they were like, what does learning look like, more so than a symbol. Yeah. I was like, well, that's one way to take it. And it's not where I intended it for it to go, but it is kind of an interesting way to look at it. And I did, the answer was, spot on as far as, but I did enjoy the answers to the childhood memories. Like I got all kinds of ideas from that.
For sure.
And yeah. And so, and and like I said, the symbols, just people kind of getting that epiphany of like, oh, I could use this, or this is really cool, or this is something we do, and so kind of sharing that reflection, and it's certainly to something to be positive reflection. So
yeah, I love that. And question one for those people that are going back and they wanted to figure out what question you're talking about. It was question one where you basically just you wanted people to go back to their childhood and talk about something from their childhood that could come back out today. And it's funny because when I was thinking through the question that or the response that resonated with me, Trinice, I don't know if you're familiar with Trinice Brown Warren. She's amazing. She hangs out with Mastermind with. She brought up Supermarket Sweep as this amazing game show she remembered. And man, I haven't thought of Supermarket Sweep in years. I know it came back or whatever for a little while there, prime time, but the original Supermarket Sweep was legit. People running up and down aisles of supermarkets trying to grab the most expensive things. You can use that in your classroom to do so many epic things. Like it was just a great answer. I loved it.
That one was a really good one. I really like that. And I did see the reboot, and I wasn't, and even Saturday Night Live, I think, parodied the reboot of Supermarket Sweep. But I was going to say, I also remember back when there was like the 100th customer in the grocery store, and they won they could go and get as many groceries as they wanted or something like that, and that being a big thing too. So
yeah, for
I was
sure.
going to say.
So Meghan, the last 10 days that you've been working on this chat, getting everything lined up, you were picturing this chat where you're building your questions. You wanted people to walk away with some sort of thought, some sort of theme. You're an English teacher, right? You were building the plot. You had the climax and the falling action. And then there was this theme that you wanted people to walk away with, a lesson to learn or an epiphany, a light bulb, whatever the case may be. What was the thing that you wanted people to take away from this?
I think the biggest thing was just ideas. Right now it's July 8th. I know we go back in a month, and I know somebody said 18 days, and I was like, "Ooh, don't tell me that." Don't tell me 18 days. And I mean, I know you're working hard, Dave. You're doing all the things still, so it's all good. But I mean, right now a lot of people are like, well, I don't want to do this, or I don't want to do that, or this is what we had to do last year. And I was like, I really wanted to go, start that positive, okay, school's coming up in a month. What, how are we going to look at this, and also too, just because the Green Hearts were, kind of transformative in my, pursuing this PLN and working with these people, who else can you follow? Who's somebody that, when you're sitting there and thinking, gosh, things are hard, who can I talk to? And of course, Livia Chan came up like 50 million times. I think everybody said Livia Chan. So, and I know somebody that I was like, of course, Livia, you put in the gift comment and stuff like that for Livia. But yeah, I was going to say, the two things that I wanted people to leave with were ideas to kind of spark their imagination while they're thinking about things. And then obviously people that they can follow that will bring them that, positivity into their lives.
I love that. I love it. And Liv is here, and she is extremely humbled by your words.
I know. I saw that.
I know you mentioned early on that Team Ray, and I'm Team Ray too. I've got the shirt. That's simply because there's not a Team Liv shirt.
Mad at me for a while.
If there's a Team Liv shirt on the way, I'm buying it. So
yeah, I was going to say definitely Team Liv, and I mean, obviously teach better.
Love it. Meghan, one last thing I want to weave into this conversation, and it was one of your answers to one of your questions. I love the fact that you were answering your question. So people that are looking to be future moderators of Teach Better Chat, answer your questions. We're dying to know what your thoughts are to the questions that you asked. So I'm so glad you did that. You mentioned a word that is driving you forward. You mentioned the word intentional, that you want to have this intentional focus on things. Elaborate on that a little bit. Why the word intentional?
Well, I I am a picture of scatterbrained madness sometimes. Most of the time, I would say I'm a picture of scatterbrained. I'm total ADHD, turn around and squirrel, and so I had an answer that I had put in, and I went back, and after having lunch with my friends, I kind of came back and thought, I should put more. I shouldn't just leave it at, like I want to be better at, I think it was like being more organized or something like that. And then I was like, no, I really do. I go through the one word activity with my students every year. And so I did the one word back in, January, and I did pick intentional, but I mean, trying to be, I mean, self-care intentional, intentional with the activities that I'm choosing to do, intentional with how I put myself out there in different ways. And so being better at that picking and choosing, not just saying yes to everything, not just, not saying no to everything, but just being more intentional. And by doing so, then I kind of encompass that whole organizational aspect that I don't think I'm doing a great job at doing, or I kind of get the, all that other stuff kind of falls into line. But yes, that is the one word I chose, and I try to stay with it, but sometimes you fall off the horse. So
For sure. Well, I appreciate that you were intentional about saying yes to this, because I think you did an amazing job tonight leading the Teach Better chat. And I also love how you planted seeds for people to be intentional about their planning next week, because can you believe it's already 6 days away that we have our next 12-hour live next Wednesday, the 14th. So people go out there. The schedule is everywhere. You can see it everywhere. Be intentional. Find the segments you want to tune in for. Feel free to be intentional about choosing all 12 hours and watch all 12 hours if you want to, or be strategic. Be intentional. Say yes to getting better. We'll flood you with green hearts. Find something you want to grow in and be intentional about it. I absolutely love that. If there's something specific you want to grow in, webinars are all over the place this summer as well. Feel free to go to the Teach Better page and find the webinar of your choice to continue to get better. Meghan, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for challenging us all. Thank you so much for engaging us all, giving us a vision of how to symbolize our own growth, to push ourselves to improve, to be intentional about who we are, and just being a model of being amazing. I appreciate you. You're awesome.
All right. Thank you.
All right, everybody. Connect with Meghan. She gave you all of her contact info. Until we meet again, have an awesome night. Go out there and get better.